Alam niyo ba na ang presyo ng kuryente sa Pilipinas ay among the highest in Southeast Asia? In fact, yung presyo ng kuryente natin ay comparable sa Singapore, guys, mga be. Ang average income ng Singaporeans ay 13 times higher kesa sa ating mga Pinoy. But we're paying almost the same rate sa kuryente. Bakit? That's the big question. Hello mga kapitbahay, mga ka-home buddies. I'm Mayor Frances and welcome to our new series entitled Solar Buddies, kung saan pag-uusapan natin kasama ang mga eksperto kung bakit at paano giginhawa ang buhay with rooftop solar. Is solar the sululu sa pagtaas ng kuryente sa Pilipinas? This is episode 1. For our first episode, basics muna tayo. Why is electricity so expensive in the Philippines? And is solar really the solution? And beyond yung technical and financial side ng solar, how does having access to this renewable source of energy change the lives of Filipinos? Joining me today for our very first episode is none other than the New Energy Nexus Country Director, Ms. Brenda Valerio. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ms. Frances.
Can you tell us more about your background and para mas lalo ko pang makilala ng mga kapitbahay natin?
Sure po. So, hello po. I'm Brenda. I've been with New Energy Nexus since 2019. So, since we began our work here in the Philippines. So, New Energy Nexus po isa siyang global non-profit organization na tumutulong sa mga enterprises or mga businesses na nasa clean energy. At dito sa Pilipinas, napakarami po niyan ay rooftop solar installers. Kaya po sa amin, parang in the last 7 years, we have a network of over 250 micro-solar installers all over the Philippines.
Wow! Napaka-noble ng trabaho nila, guys, no? Kasi nga naman, you're helping people, na mas marami pang makapagpakabit ng solar, na marunong magkabit para maraming makabitan, kumbaga. Pero interesting din for me na 2019 pa kayo nandito. So 2019 pa lang, marami ng nagpapakabit ng solar.
Yes po. Actually, Ms. Frances, parang sa stories then of other people in the industry, even early 2000s, may solar na dito sa Philippines. Pero sobrang mahal. Sobrang mahal pa niya. Kaya parang noon, ng mga nakakapagpa-solar lang yung mga medyo malalaki syempre yung budget. Tapos yung iba, yung mga medyo mas techy lang kunwari sila, kaya nauuna sila magpa-solar. So siguro mga early 2000s up until 2010s, ganun. Pero sobrang iba na ngayon. Sobrang napakadali na, una sa lahat, magpakabit ng solar at sobrang mura na din compared to how it was several years ago. Yes.
Wow, ang dami nating mapag-usapan dahil ang haba na nga ng journey mo. Pero to get to all other discussion, let's get to the root of it all. Bakit nga ba mahal ang kuryente sa Pilipinas?
So, pag tinignan po natin yung electricity bill, 'di ba? Madami dong lines, 'di ba? So una sa lahat diyan, and most often than not pinakamalaki is yung ating generation charge. At ang reason po nun ay dahil marami sa ating mga energy generating facilities, yung ating mga power plants, ay kumukuha ng source from imported fossil fuels, no? So kaya po kung naalala natin nung 2022 nung Russia-Ukraine war, 'di ba? Tumaas talaga yung presyo ng fuel, tumaas yung presyo ng fossil fuels, apektado tayo. Apektado yung mga power plants natin kasi sa kanila galing, no, yung source. So ganun din ngayon na may war ulit, no? So pag tumaas ang presyo ng fuel, taas ang fossil fuels, taas din talaga ang ating kuryente. So, yun yung generation. Pangalawang item po doon is yung transmission. So, syempre, pag nagawa na po ang kuryente sa ating mga power plants, kailangan dalhin yon sa kung nasaan ang mga bahay, no? At dahil uniquely ang Pilipinas, no, in comparison din with other, let's say, Asian countries, fragmented tayo. Maraming isla. No? We are an archipelago. Napakarami nating isla. So, napakaraming kumbaga power stations, napakaraming kailangang linya para makarating ang kuryente sa ating mga bahay o sa ating mga negosyo. At habang papahaba yung mga linyang yan, parami yung systems losses. No? Kasi nababawasan yung kuryente habang dumarating siya dyan. So, yun din, napapataw din yun sa ating electricity bill. And then finally, syempre, meron din tayong distribution charges. Yan po yung mga, kumbaga nga, sa Metro Manila, yung Meralco, sa Visayas, meron silang VECO and also other cooperatives. So sila yung distribute, no? Kumbaga nilo-lower down nila yung voltage para magamit ng mga tao yung kuryente. So sila din, may mga mine-maintain din silang mga costs. Syempre, yung mga poste, yung mga transformer, yung mga linya, tapos yung pagsingil nila ng electricity bill, yung mga theft charges, yung mga ganyan, no? So, nagpatong-patong lahat yan, kaya pagdating sa consumer, medyo malaki na po talaga ang ating electricity bill. Isa pa rin po dyan, compared kunwari sa Indonesia or Thailand, may subsidies po kasi yung government nila. So sa atin, fully, really the consumers bear yung price, no, ng electricity. Kaya medyo ganun talaga yung impact niya sa atin.
Kaya pala ramdam ko yung bigat.
Ramdam na ramdam po
Pasan
talaga
na pasan
natin.
pala talaga natin.
Tayo
100% plus
kasi tayo
more.
talaga ang nagbubuhat, walang
Oh
iba.
my God!
Yes po.
Iba. So, napag-usapan natin yung tumataas yung konsumo ng kuryente kasi nga yung charge mismo or yung generation, kung saan man galing yun. Ito ba ang rason kung bakit mas dumarami ang nagpapakabit ng rooftop solar sa Pilipinas?
Yes, yun talaga ang isa sa mga main triggers, no? Actually, nung kinukumpara nga namin ang Pilipinas, no, yung parang solar adoption rate natin compared to other countries. In other countries, pag nagpakabit sila ng solar, with the subsidies and merong ibig countries kasi meron silang mga parang meron silang rewards, incentives from their government. So with that, so nababawasan yung price ng solar sa kanila. Siguro return on investment, ROI na sila within 3 to 5 years, no? So other countries 'yon. Sa Pilipinas, kahit walang incentive, 3 to 5 years, ROI na tayo kasi ganun kataas yung kuryenteng binabayaran natin. No? So talagang just looking at price and economics, sulit na siya, no? So that's really one. Pangalawa, marami pa rin po talagang lugar sa Pilipinas, although syempre may mga sa atin sa Metro Manila, medyo hindi na natin siya nararamdaman, na very intermittent ang kanilang power. As in, sobrang common sa kanila na 5 hours a day, 12 hours a day, mawawala na ng kuryente. No? At naging part na yun ng daily life nila, nag-adjust na sila around it, no? Pinaplano na nila yung business nila or yung chores nila around it, no? So, yung idea of having 24/7 power na, sa atin very very common, sa kanila parang hindi pangarap pa rin yun, no?
Even in
this day and
2026,
age.
no?
Even in this day and age, no? So, nakaka-amaze, no, na may mga ganun pa rin. And hindi ito sobrang lalaki. Like, hindi ito yung mga rural or mga malalayong lugar. Like, merong cities na ganun yung sitwasyon nila. So, having solar, no, having power 24/7 na mas mura pa, really empowers them, no? It gives them more productivity. It really opens up so much opportunities for them. So, yun talaga ang really key drivers for many Filipinos to look at solar, na imbes na iintayin ba nating bumaba ang kuryente, na parang hindi naman siya mangyayari, no? Dahil pataas naman po ng pataas lahat ng ating mga presyo. Imbes na intayin natin bumaba ang presyo ng kuryente, parang let's take matters into our own hands. No? Let's have solar in our roofs, no? At syempre, parang mas na-speed up pa siya, mas tumaas pa yung demand nitong nagkaroon tayo ng energy crisis. Kasi mas nakita ng mga Pilipino, mas nakita natin na possible pala na mawalan tayo ng fuel. Possible pala na mawalan tayo ng supply. Pag clinose yung Strait of Hormuz, diba? So mas okay lang noon, medyo mataas yung kuryente, pero okay lang siguro yun. Sige, i-delay na lang natin yun. Pero nung dumating yung idea na baka pala mawalan na talaga tayong lahat ng kuryente at wala tayong choice. Parang yung thought na magiging irarasyon na lang yung kuryente, yung ganun. So it was really parang driving force for many Filipinos, many businesses, and many households to get solar.
Interesting to hear you talk about this kasi parang for me, iniisip natin, di ba? Kapag mataas yung kuryente, ang sinasabi ng parents natin, magtipid.
Yes.
Kumbaga, patayin lahat ng ilaw na parang ako, mami, yung ilaw 10 piso lang yun sa isang araw. Kahit 24/7.
Yes.
Di ba? Pero yun yung default natin na we unplug everything. I mean, even minsan nga nagagaslight pa tayo na may vampire energy daw, kaya unplug. Yun daw yung
Yes.
nagkakos, bakit tumataas yung kuryente natin. But for me, parang ngayon, the reality is, kahit anong tipid ng Pilipino, the costs talaga are ballooning.
Yes.
Kaya, kahit nasabihin natin sa susunod, di na tayo nag-aircon, mahal pa rin yung kuryente if the source will just increase, keep on increasing the price.
Kasi even the price of generating power at even at the generation level, ang taas na niya. So kahit wag ka lang mag-aircon, kahit wag ka lang mag-ref, di ba, which is very, very difficult, tataas at tataas yung kuryente.
So, syempre, now we're kind of talking about things that make us sad. But let's move on to things that make us happy dahil sa Homebodies, we love being happy. So, can we talk about feel-good stories or success stories about yung mga anything you've heard about solar? Ano ba yung mga klaseng buhay na nagbago? Can you tell us more about those?
Sure. So, iba-iba yung iba-iba yung impact ng solar sa iba-ibang uri ng tao at sa iba-iba ding kumbaga kung nasan sila. So kunwari yung favorite story namin is during the pandemic. Dahil nakwento ko kanina, 'di ba? Meron tayong mga lugar na wala silang kuryente. Some of these even are in urban places. At bakit ganun? Kasi hindi na sila naaabot ng grid, no? Or hindi, basta may mga, of course, may mga complications with getting their titles and whatnot. So, kahit medyo nasa city sila or urban area, hindi sila abot ng grid. So, wala silang kuryente.
Can you, to give our viewers some perspective, anong mga probinsya to or anong mga lugar? Meron bang mga notorious na lugar sa Pilipinas na hanggang ngayon walang
Surprisingly, nalaman namin sa Bulacan, may mga lugar na ganun, off-grid sila, so wala silang kuryente. In some areas of Cebu, so kahit hindi yung mga far provinces. So, yun nga, parang yung Bulacan nga lang, nagulat kami. Sabi ko,
Ang lapit lang sa
lapit no na.
Oo.
Apparently meron.
Tsaka ang daming mall doon. Daming kuryente ng
Daming
mall.
industrial zones.
Yeah.
So, may mga communities doon na off-grid sila.
Oh my gosh.
So, nung nag-pandemic, di walang classes, no? So, nag-shift to online. So, may mga DepEd modules noon, yung mga bata. Siyempre, wala silang kuryente, wala silang wifi. So, yung mga bata doon, hindi sila makapasok. And if you could just imagine that, for a community and for prolonged time, for several months, huling-huli na yung mga bata o yung mga taong walang kuryente. So, nung nag-install sa kanila ng small solar home systems, shared pa nga yun. So, shared sila, nakakapag-wifi sila, nakakapag-piso wifi sila. Tas meron silang router lang doon. Yung mga bata, sabay-sabay sila, nanonood sila sa mga cellphones nila, no? Very common din yan sa maraming off-grid areas. Again, ito nga yung mga community natin na wala talagang kuryente, na yung productive hours nila, it is limited to when the sun is out. Parang ang primitive nga niyang isipin, di ba? Na parang starting 7 p.m., wala na kayong trabahong pwedeng gawin. Kung meron kayong livelihood na ginagawa, wala na, tigil na yan kasi wala ng araw. So, having solar in their homes gives us additional 4 or 5 hours of productive. So, solar plus battery yun, no? Kasi kukuha ng solar power in the morning, isa-store niya, tas sa gabi, meron silang power. At least for about 4 or 6 hours pa sa gabi. So, mas marami silang nagagawa. Yung mga may small businesses, mas productive sila, no? Meron silang electric fan, nakakapag-charge sila ng cellphone, nakakapag-wifi sila kahit papano. So just in itself yung productivity, no? And the thought of them not being left behind, we think is very powerful, no? At the core of it.
Yung setup na shinare mo kanina, yung kasi nga I would assume these are, I wouldn't say poverty level na ba yung kabahayan na to.
Most of the time, they're really the marginalized and parang mga underrepresented.
So, paano sila nakapagpakabit ng solar? Kasi 'di ba parang tayo, hindi ko afford.
Yes.
Pero if I mean, I'm not saying na hindi nila deserve. They actually deserve it because they don't
Yes.
have access to utilities.
Yes.
Pero ang question ko is, paano sila nakapagpakabit?
So it's usually through the help din naman of other actors, other stakeholders. So some of them through the help of other NGOs,
Okay.
no? And I think the beauty with that, with the newer models, kasi dati uso talaga yung i-donate. Donatean sila ng solar home systems, no? But recently, the newer models is that they will get it as a donation in a way, pero they repay it in small amounts. And usually naman din, yung mga systems na to, very small. Hindi siya yung tipong kaya yung aircon. No? So very small siya, usually enough lang siya for 2 light bulbs, 1 fan, tapos mobile phone charging. So
How does this look like, the setup? Kasi I imagine most of the solar that I'm aware of is rooftop
Yung
solar.
rooftop,
Meaning, nakakabit talaga either sa roof
Yes.
deck or sa bubong.
most of them naman sa bubong din talaga, but
Okay.
smaller lang yung system. So like isang panel lang yan na 600 watts, tas may maliit lang silang inverter, maliit lang yung battery. So yun naman yung beauty also of solar systems. It's very modular. So compared din nga noon, kaya siya mahal kasi ang lalaki talaga ng systems available. Now there's so many new technologies, na meron mga micro-inverter, may mga ganyan. So very technical, and I think our other speakers will maybe will
yeah.
speak to that. But that's also the beauty of solar, na it's something that is customizable to a household's needs, no? Parang if maliit lang, ito lang naman yung appliances mo, and okay na to. Tapos ito lang yung afford din naman ng household.
Kapag nag-solar yung isang bahay, ano yung napapansin nyo based on all the people you've met? Ano yung unang nagbabago sa buhay nila?
So number one really is yung parang hindi na nila sinasacrifice yung convenience, no? Which is yun yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, diba? Na parang by default, pag medyo mataas yung kuryente, wag na muna mag-aircon, no? So, bawasan yung mga bukas ng ilaw. Although energy efficiency is also something that is very much useful, no? And also, we also advocate for that. Dapat din naman tayo, hindi naman tayo nagsasayang, no? Hindi naman tayo porque may solar
Unlimited
or
na eh.
parang wag na, wala nang patayan nito, no? So we also have to be mindful, no? But that's really number one, yung comfort, yung convenience. Naalala ko nga, may mga kinikwento pa yung mga solar installers namin pag meron silang client, kunwari na household na okay lang naman sila na family sila na okay na sila sa consumption nila. It's not too much. Kaso nagkaroon ng baby sa bahay. So kailangan yung aircon. Kailangan talaga siyang buksan. Hindi, like silang matatanda daw, okay lang naman daw na hindi na nag-aircon pag mainit. Pero dahil nandiyan yung baby. No? So it's number one talaga is not sacrificing convenience. No? And then, the next stage would be more productivity. Parang mas na-encourage na rin sila to, let's say, add new equipment or appliances. So for businesses, very common siya, no? Na dahil yung cost na binabayad nila sa kuryente, natitipid na nila, nade-divert siya to other things, no? Very common din namin yung nakikita. Even in the off-grid, itong mga, let's say, marginalized or underrepresented communities na, okay na pala, may 2 ilaw na, pwede na tayo mag-offer ng piso wifi, ganyan.
Nakakaisip sila ng new
Yes.
ideas to further improve or better their situation.
Yes, no.
Ang
So
galing.
tapos yung iba din naman, parang start sila maliit na solar system. Parang masarap, pag dinagdagan pala natin to, pwedeng pati yung washing machine, yung dryer. No? So parang nag-elevate yung lifestyle nila, nag-elevate. Parang they think of more possibilities because energy, which is very fundamental to our lives, is no longer a barrier for them to dream big.
Ang ganda nun.
Parang
Na-imagine ko siya, na-relate ko siya to, alam mo yung pag Pinoy nakapunta sa ibang bansa.
Yes.
You suddenly, wow, ang laki ng mundo. Pwede pala to,
Yes.
pwede palang walang
Yes.
traffic, pwede palang malaki yung bahay. I don't
Oo,
know.
diba? Kasi parang sobrang limited tayo nung yung fear of, naman, summer na naman, tataas na naman ang kuryente, or for other places, parang, brownout na naman, no choice na naman tayo, tigil ang negosyo, diba? So, nung wala na lahat yun, you suddenly have a blank slate na, pwede pala tayo mag-EV, pwede pa tayo bumili ng electrical, hindi na tayo magpapagas forever, no? So, it opens so many possibilities for them.
Yeah. Pero ang I guess risky, not to be a downer, 'di ba? Pero yung lifestyle inflation,
Yes.
it will slowly creep in
Very
kasi parang
common.
kunyari yun nga, dati happy na sila sa electric fan, tapos na-introduce sila to aircon, susunod may malaking TV na sila.
Kaya very common din, Miss Frances, na may mga instances na kinikwento yung mga solar installers namin na ito lang daw yung system na kailangan. Kasi nagpa-assessment sila, ito lang. Kaso nung nandiyan na yung solar, natuwa, bumili ng dagdag na 3 aircon. So syempre tumaas na naman yung konsumo nila. Nireklamo sila, hindi na po zero yung bill namin. Kasi po, mas madami na po kasi yung konsumo nyo ulit. So very important po talaga yan. So na tanungin natin sa ating mga installers yan na pag magpapa-assessment na gusto ba natin in the next few years, baka gusto natin magpadagdag ng aircon para ma-size nila properly. So, very common yan na talaga na once na feel mo na, masarap pala yung walang patayan yung aircon, tapos yung bill mo, wala man lang 500 pesos. Tagtagalan ng aircon. Ipa-aircon na lahat yan.
Parang gusto ko ma-experience yun. Sad lang for us. I mean, I know nakakondo ka rin.
Yes
Kasi
po.
wala pa yung option na yun for us, no? Or
Yes.
meron na bang option sa Pilipinas na naka-solar? Ang mga condo, have you seen any?
May ibang buildings na sila mismo, but it has to be syempre an initiative of the building owner. So that's just the thing with solar right now. Really, it's the rooftop owner's decision. And some of us, we don't own roofs. So I think that's also a call for innovation then for other types of solar systems. Although may mga instances din, yung iba naman though for backup power. So very
Instead of
common yan.
generator.
Yes, very common yan nung pandemic din. Kasi ang dami nag-work from home. So syempre, yung mga work from home, pag nawala ng kuryente, wala ka ring work, di ba? So may mga na-support kaming enterprises na they do power stations. So they sell power stations or parang backup battery. It can be charged from the grid, pero pwede din siyang solar. So it was very useful for them. And then, since work also evolved, may mga stories kaming naririnig na may mga tao na umuwi na sila ng probinsya. Kasi noon nagre-rent sila dito sa Manila kasi mas stable yung power. Pero, tas work from home naman sila. So kahit work from home sila, kailangan dito sila sa Manila kasi dito, walang interruption yung power, no? Nung meron na silang battery or nakapagpa-solar sila sa bahay nila sa probinsya, uwi na sila, nag-relocate na sila, doon na sila nag-work from home, di na sila nawawala ng kuryente, which is also good, for, let's say, for the family, and also good for the local economy. In a way na didecongest natin ang Manila.
Oo nga.
Diba?
Ayun din na, parang ang ganda rin yung impact no ng solar.
Yes, parang on a parang on a community level, di ba? Parang hindi rin namin siya naisip at the start, pero nakita namin yung behavior ng mga tao na this is a good way to decongest urban centers kasi some people are only here kasi dito may stable source of power. So if you give that to them sa
Where they used
provinces
to be,
where they
yeah.
are, then they can flourish there.
Ang ganda. Ang ganda ring message nun, I guess, to government also or policymakers na,
Yes.
if you want to decentralize Manila, na, di ba, lahat ng jobs nandito, there's a reason why. Kasi the infrastructures are here.
Exactly.
I guess, even kuryente is here. So once you give power, literal power
Yes.
to other, places, yung power din ng mga tao to choose where they want to be will be given to them.
And very growing din yung economy natin, yung service economy natin for mga work from home, yung mga VA, diba, virtual assistant. So, sobrang madidecongest siguro yung major cities nun pag if they relocate. And some of them, even some of the people that we work with, we're close with, parang gusto rin nila bumalik sa mga probinsya nila. Yun lang, laging brown out. So, it's really something parang aspirational for them na pa-solar yung bahay namin sa probinsya, tapos uuwi na kami, doon na kami.
For mga kapitbahay natin who are, very much interested in getting solar, pero nag-iisip sila kasi di ba may options na grid tie, off-grid, or hybrid. Magkakaiba ba yung impact sa buhay based on those options?
Yes
And
po.
do you have stories for each specific one?
So, depende siya sa nakikita namin, depende siya kung nasan din kayo, no? So, mostly of most of our installer networks na nandito sa Manila or nasa urban centers, mas grid tie talaga yung kanilang ini-install, no? And then in places na mas maraming power interruption, hybrid kasi diyan papasok yung ano talaga ng battery, no? And then sa mga areas din yung off-grid talaga, kumbaga hindi kayo naaabot ng linya ng distribution utility nyo, off-grid din talaga yung kanilang option. But it's also still possible for someone who is in an area na with power interruption na mag fully off-grid, no? It's also possible for someone in Metro Manila to go fully off-grid.
May mga ganon.
Meron ding cases actually.
Does that have a benefit to be fully off-grid in Manila?
Meron naman long term, but it's also right now one of the barriers is syempre if you have to go full off-grid, sabihin wala ka na talagang kuryenteng kukunin sa grid, medyo malaki-laking battery yung kailangan mo doon. At syempre,
high cost, high investment.
Yes. And as you increase, yun nga, nag-increase yung lifestyle mo, nag-increase yung appliances mo, ready ka din dapat na increase ka rin ng battery.
Here's a fun question. Nadja-jumper din bang solar?
Nasi-share ba siya? I guess kung mauta ka, meron sigurong way. Very rare naman yung cases na I think na may na-encounter yung mga solar installers natin. Pero I think it's possible pa rin. Kasi decentralized siya and that's really one of the beauty of rooftop solar. Kasi nga, yung normal energy system natin is power is generated at a power plant somewhere in let's say a province a few kilometers away from us. Tapos dadala yung kuryente sa atin. Dito hindi na. The power is generated where you need it and where it is used. Doon na siya. So again, feeling ko naman ng mga Pilipino dahil very creative tayo. Feeling ko may ways that they can share it. But it's also still, it's something that is, it does more good than harm naman.
It's nice that you talked about, magpakabit ka na bukas. Pero how easy is that? Are there any incentives, loans? Where best to apply for these? Are there grants that you can share with us?
So loans there are. So very attractive nga ngayon yung mga commercial banks na ino-offer nila na naka-tie up siya with the home mortgage. So if you are in the process of like purchasing a house or mag-home loan kayo, I think it's very important to ask your banks na baka pwedeng kasama na yung solar loan dyan. No? Then there's also our government parang loans from the government. So si GSIS, meron din sila for their
Pag-ibig
employees.
and SSS also.
Pag-ibig, yes. I think SS.
SSS ba wala?
Wala pa.
Baka GSIS Pag-ibig.
Soon to come yun sa SSS. Pero yung GSIS very very recent, and then Pag-ibig, no, so part siya nung home loan. Although si GSIS parang very particular siya na solar loan talaga siya, no. So I think that's also one consideration for you, no. Medyo heavy naman talaga yung upfront cost of getting solar for your home, no. Yung let's say siguro 300,000 to about 500,000 siguro siya kung may battery. Mabigat siya, no? So, I think that's one thing. If gusto mo na magpa-solar bukas, tignan muna natin may paano magiging structure ng budget natin.
Yeah.
Interestingly, meron din tayong mga solar installers na parang EPC yung tawag sa kanila, no? Engineering, Procurement, and Construction Company. So, they're parang more established companies that offer rooftop solar installation. Some of them also have install now, pay later.
Parang in-house financing nila.
Yes, yan gano'n. Parang kakabitan nila yung solar ngayon pero you don't need an upfront cost. Some installers also just have, you can pay with credit card. So, pwede siyang i-stretch in 6 months or even like 1 year, 12 months. Yes, at a certain fee lang. No? So, it depends on the installer you're speaking with. Some of them have those parang promos, or some of them have that mechanism, no. In other places lang usually mas less yung mga ganong offerings. Na-observe namin yan sa mga probinsya, yung mga installer mas wala silang mga ganong capacity. So it would be good for the banks to also step in, to come in for that. Second, we usually advise na before you dive deep into the web of social media and pagkahanap ng solar installer, you also do some reading on your own. And marami namang available resources for that, no? May mga solar calculators, although medyo iba-iba din kasi yung numbers na makukuha mo doon. But it's always good to just get a basic understanding lang. What is solar PV system? How does solar work? No? Very interestingly nga, in other countries, medyo mas mataas yung parang energy literacy nila. So these things, mas naiintindihan nila. Unfortunately, sa Philippines, hindi siya masyadong part. Usually, hindi naman yan dinidiscuss sa school. Pag hindi yata engineering yung degree mo, hindi mo man lang maiintindihan yung kuryente. No?
Yeah.
So, now that we're considering changing our energy system or changing the way that we consume electricity, it's also good for you to do some reading, no? Check some online resources, no? Ano ba yung difference talaga ng on-grid or yung grid-tied, hybrid, and off-grid? What are some cases, no? So it's very important for us to make informed decisions. Kasi once you start, tapos parang very common siya mag-post ka parang looking for solar installers.
Sobrang dami. So, buddies, oh my God.
Parang, kaya nga, pag nag-check din ako lagi doon, may isang maghanap lang na recommendation. Grabe yung comments. Walang nagre-recommend. Sila na mismo. PM ka na nila ng quote. Ganon. No? So, syempre, para hindi ka rin ma-overwhelm ng mga ganon, you also have to check. No? So, for us, what we recommend is it would always be good to go through some of the more established lists. No? So you have your DOE accredited list of solar installers. There's also the trade associations. No? Ito yung mga association of solar companies, and they themselves, no, they also check yung quality of their members. So alam mo na pag nag-engage ka with them, they're credible installers. No? So you have PISEA, yung Philippine Solar and Storage Energy Alliance. In Mindanao, there's Mindanao Go Solar. In Cebu, there's SIAPI, Clean Energy Advocates Association of the Philippines. And then there's the Association of Solar Installers in the Philippines. And I think si Homebodies magkakaroon din ng event, no,
yes.
to highlight some of the possible installers you can engage with. And that's very important, before para din mawala yung anxiety mo and trust and mabuild yung trust, kasi hindi siya parang aircon installation. Yun yung sinasabi namin. Yung aircon installation kasi bibili ka sa mall, meron na silang mga
kasamang installer.
May installer na yan, kakabit lang nila yan, kakabit sa wire, tapos na. Si solar installer kasi gagalawin niya yung electrical ng bahay mo, yung wiring, 'di ba? So very fundamental siya, very critical siya. So you also don't do, and it's a heavy investment.
Yeah.
Aircon 30,000, 'di ba? 20,000 yung iba. Ito 300,000. Parang ayaw mo naman na yung 300,000 mo. Ikakabit lang ng hindi credible or hindi qualified. So you also we need to be responsible consumers and responsible parang end users na let's do our research, let's check through verified platforms. When we engage with them, so possible na wala sila dun sa list na yan but they've been existing for a long time, that's also possible. Check mo kung meron silang government registrations, diba? Registered ba yung business nila? Ilan na yung nakabitan nila ng solar? Ano ba yung mga testimony ng mga nakabitan nila? Anong brands yung mga dala-dala nila? And also, check those brands, diba? Parang, ang dami na rin kasi ngayong products in the market, diba? Anong solar panels ikakabit nila sa'yo? Anong inverter? Yan. So, just do some, hindi siya kailangang very elaborate, very technical. But,
I would relate it nga to pagpapatayo ng bahay. Di ba, when you're building a house, hahanap ka ng contractor na maasahan mo and transparent kung ano yung ginagamit sa bahay mo. It's the same thing with having a solar system at home. Parang kasi every component will have a brand and a product. So you actually know what goes into your system.
Yes,
so,
yes.
That's nice. But speaking of pag-install, and we've talked about all the feel-good stories about, yung mga nakabitan nila.
Yes.
Pero I'm interested dun sa mga nagkakabit. Kasi lagi kong iniisip yun kung di ba yung mga farmers, ang struggle nila is, sila ang nagtatanim para may makain ng ibang tao, pero sila ang walang makain sa araw-araw. What about solar installers? Nagkakabit sila ng solar sa ibang tao, sa bahay ng ibang tao. Sa sarili kaya nilang bahay, naka-solar sila.
Yes, most often than not, naka-solar naman sila. And that's the beauty of solar. Kasi sila, the installers, they have the knowledge na and the capacity to build it. So, nag-i-invest na lang sila sa materials, i-install na sila sa mga bahay nila, sa mga office nila. Tapos some of them, they also conduct training. So we also partner with them para yung mga electrician, yung mga installers nila properly trained. So yung mga training center nila, mga rin yan, solar din yan. And some of them, mga naka-electric car din sila. So talagang full, na talaga sila, parang full, hindi na sila affected ng energy crisis, ng mga fuel increases. Talagang, na sila, foolproof na sila.
Pero when we talk about the solar installers, as in even the electrician level, yung talagang umakit ng bubong, sila din ba ay nagbe-benefit sa industry? Like, ang bahay din nila naka-solar?
So, may mga instances kami na ganun talaga. Kasi nga, yung iba nagsa-start sila maliit lang, so maliit lang na panel, tapos ina-upgrade nila over time, no? And that's really the beauty of rooftop solar, and in a way, this is parang more technically called parang distributed power or decentralized power. Kasi even the electricians, even people who are working on the field, they can get the benefit of it. Nagbe-benefit sila dahil marami nagpapa-solar, so gumaganda ang business. But they themselves, though, they can also do it. Hindi nila kailangan ng, basta may bubong sila, hindi nila kailangang magrenta ng property or whatnot. Sa sarili nila mga bahay, they can do that.
Ang galing! Napakagandang benefit yun ng solar. Parang ang dami mong nasabi na talagang makes me want to root for solar even more. Kasi nga, one is parang everybody now gets a chance to have a comfortable life at home.
Yes.
Na de-decongest natin yung mga key major cities.
Yes.
Diba? And then this time, like, even people who are looking for work can now actually start to get into solar. Kasi it's a booming industry. So, sa mga naghanap ng work, diba?
Yes.
This is a chance for you to upskill yourself and be relevant in this day and age. And hindi naman siya, I'm not saying na madali siya, but there are trainings available for people who are interested. Na kung meron tayong mga kapitbahay dyan, actually, kung wala kayong mahanap na mapagkakatiwalaan nyo, malay nyo, kayo pala yun.
Kayo pala,
Oo.
pagkakatiwala. Yes, Ms. Francis, very true. Actually, dun sa training that we also conduct, merong mga, parang mga, we call them career shifters na nag-go through ng training namin. So, hindi mo kailangan maging electrician to be a solar installer. No? So, there's training available naman if you're starting from the basics up until the more technical skills. But of course, it doesn't hurt na engineer ka or electrician. So, mas mabilis mong magigets yung mga topics. So, may mga train kami na construction company sila, tapos nag-start na rin sila mag-solar installation. May mga CCTV installation companies, solar na rin sila. May mga, bibenta silang electrical supplies, tapos nag-solar na rin sila. So marami rin siyang parang economic promise, this business. Kasi nga, it's something that you can operate wherever you're located. Hindi mo kailangan maghanap ng pwesto talaga. No? And then, it provides jobs then for many other parang technicians or electricians within your area. So, yun.
Ms. Brenda, how about in your life? As you said kanina, I mean, you are promoting solar and, di ba, kung pwede lang sa situation mo, you would have it installed right away with your house. Pero nga, condo, ang hirap.
Yes.
But how has it also impacted you, I guess, how you view life or, what has this industry given to you?
Parang very, naman yan, parang very reflective naman yung question na yon, no? But I think, really looking back, it makes me appreciate the role of electricity and energy in our lives. Kasi tayong mga pinanganak ng, wow, nilaglag yung edad, ng mga 90s, diba? At least before, after the power crisis na. Hindi na natin, at least tayong mga nasa Manila din, di ba? Parang we have the privilege of having 24/7 power. Yung
Take
mga
it for
conveniences talaga, wala. Kahapon nga, may maintenance sa condo namin. Parang 6 hours walang kuryente. Parang grabe yung effect sa amin. Parang disrupted yung buong household namin. Like, hindi nakapagluto ng ulam kasi yung induction cooker namin, wala. Malamig yung kanin namin kasi hindi namin na microwave. Parang, we only feel that in small instances. Din lang, small conveniences, pero bukas balik na naman. Mamayang gabi may kuryente na naman na masarap na naman ang tulog natin, di ba? But that is really not the reality for many people. And when you look back into the history of humanity, energy was such a critical turning point. Now, when electricity at least was discovered, that's when the rest of our basic human systems also were developed. Nagkaroon ng education, doon mas nag-industrialize. Ganun ka-critical yung energy na nung nagkaroon ng access sa kuryente yung mga tao, nabuksan yung mga iba't ibang posibilidad. Pwede pa sila mag-aral, pwede pa silang mag-discover ng ganitong industriya, pwede sila magtrabaho ng ganito, ng ganyan. So, pag tinanggal mo yung energy sa equation or ginawa mo siyang mahal, kasi yun yung effect ng pagiging mahal ng kuryente. Dahil mahal siya, hindi siya accessible, diba? So, pag tinanggal mo yun sa buhay ng isang tao, ang dami mong tinatanggal sa kanya. You're stripping them of their right to education. You're stripping them of their right to live conveniently and live comfortably compared to other humans or other Filipinos. So I think yun yung parang isang very glaring fact with the work that we've been doing, na napakahalaga ng kuryente, napakahalaga ng enerhiya sa buhay nating mga tao. So we really need to be more proactive in trying to advocate for ways that this is something that is democratized, something na may access lahat. Hindi yung paghihirapan mo pa, hindi yung uutang ka tapos 25 years kang baon sa utang para magkaroon ka. Kasi parang napaka-unfair naman nun. Kung tayo 6 hours nagrereklamo na tayo sa kuryente, yung iba talagang yun yung reality nila.
We've talked about a lot of things, but I guess we're close to the part we're closing the show, this episode. For those who are still unconvinced or worried or hindi pa rin talaga sila maka-fully go para magpakabit, can you, I guess, give them some words of advice or motivation, or I guess point them to where they should go or read up on things, where to start?
Yes. I think maganda ngayon, ang dami mo na ring mababasa talaga about the benefits of solar. And interestingly, yung mga medyo negative yung sinasabi, sila yung mga walang solar sa bahay. So, I think it's also, as responsible content consumers, we also need to distill. No? Tingnan din natin sino yung mga nagko-comment na gano'n. But parang 100% of the time, those who have solar, wala silang reklamo. Like, there's no turning back for them. Hindi yung sasabihin nila, ay, papatanggal ko na lang yung solar ko, babalik na lang ako sa pagbabayad sa grid. No? It's never the case for them. There's no turning back for them, because once you feel the benefits of it, it's really life-changing. No? Kahit nasa off-grid area ka pa, na dati wala kayong kuryente, or nasa lugar ka na may kuryente pero nawawala 12 hours a day, or nasa lugar ka na meron yung kuryente pero napakamahal, there's really no turning back.
I think that's a very nice, thing to help convince people. Yung pag na-experience mo, you'll never go back.
Yes.
Is such a strong statement. Kaya, thank you so much. We're at the end of our episode, and ang dami naming natutunan at naliwanagan talaga kami.
Yes,
And with everything I discussed today, I just want to ask you, we go back to our episode title, is solar the sululu sa pagtaas ng kuryente sa Pilipinas? Ito ba ang susi sa maginhawang buhay?
Yes. Solar na talaga ang ating solusyon kasi yung pagtaas ng kuryente, again, hindi na po siya bababa or bababa siya pa konti-unti pero yun na yung trajectory niya. Pataas na siya ng pataas. So, let's take matters into our own hands and, produce or create power where it's also consumed. It's time for us as a nation to also challenge yung ating energy system na very centralized, no? Na lahat tayo nakaasa lamang sa ibinibigay sa atin. Now, let's not wait for things to change. Let's take matters into our own hands.
Yes. Dahil dyan, do you have any other things to share with our Home Buddies community related to that taking charge?
Yes, yan po. I would like to encourage everyone to join us by signing the petition called for our campaign. So it's an awareness raising and policy advocacy campaign. It's a call for our government and our regulators to remove or reduce the taxes and fees to make solar more affordable sa mas maraming Pilipino. And that also includes, looking at our current policies, programs, and laws so that we can make our whole rooftop solar ecosystem more accessible and more affordable for many Filipinos. So, Sayang ang Araw campaign, it's an initiative of many nonprofits and many stakeholders within our sector. So, kung gusto nyo pong mas gawin pang mas mura ang solar para mas marami pa po tayong makapagpakabit ng solar, please join us in signing the petition.
Yes, the petition is called Sayang ang Araw, Gawing Mura ang Solar. We will be putting the links on the screen. We'll also put it in the description para mag-sign na kayo ng petition, and it will be so helpful for our key stakeholders like New Energy Nexus and other associations that you mentioned earlier in rallying talaga na tanggalin na yung tax muna para mas marami pang tao ang makabenefit from solar. Kaya mga kapitbahay, mga ka-home buddies, napatunayan natin ngayon na oo, nakakatipid ang solar kung tama ang setup. Pero aminin natin, mabigat naman talaga sa bulsa ang magpa-install ng rooftop solar. Kaya I really encourage everyone, again, to sign the petition, Sayang ang Araw, Gawing Mura ang Solar, dahil makakatulong ito sa pagbuo ng mga batas at programa para maging mas accessible at affordable ang solar para sa lahat. The QR code will be shared here, or you can click the link in the description below. And sa susunod na episodes, aalamin naman natin kung paano natin masisimulan ang inyong solar journey. So kung may questions kayo, comment it below. And make sure na rin to like and subscribe para updated kayo sa new episodes na. Hanggang sa muli, may the sunny days be with you, kapitbahay!